Okay, this video here is being made for the Nevada courts, and it shows what you have to go through in order to read Clark County's cast vote record. In short, the file provided is not loadable by Excel or any other standard software or database program. And this has to do with who knows what. Okay? So, trying to read a 2-page ballot from their cast vote record is like trying to solve a Rubik's Cube, and a different Rubik's Cube for each ballot. Thankfully, I have figured it out through a sequence of positive and negative lengths and voids in the data that now allows me to read this. So this video is going to start with, we're going to do the early vote, okay? And we're going to reconstruct the early vote from these instructions, which are mostly written here, but I'm going to write the rest of them as we go. I will occasionally pause this video because there's going to be a lot of long loading times for what we need to do. So just bear that in mind, okay? So the first thing we're going to do is save this as restore early vote. And I'm going to have to probably pause this while it saves. So you can see there's going to be a really long load. So I'm going to pause this video for about 20 seconds. Okay, now that is completed, we start with the mail-in votes are fine. We don't have to restore those. They're all readable as one function, one column, okay? However, we do need the column headers here. So we're going to need this information here. Okay. So we're going to go to sheet 2, where the 2-page early ballots start at some point. Oh, good. This was already here. Oh, by the way, getting it just into this format is a struggle. I just want to let you know you have to actually go into the text file, and you have to copy and paste blocks at a time, and then you have to split them. But that itself is technically not something wrong with the data. That's just a pain in the ass. And when you have tons of ballots, over 1 million ballots, some are paid two-page ballots, that's actually to be expected. So I'm not going to go over that part because there's technically nothing wrong with that. It's just inconvenient. But what we're going to see here is not some trivial issue with reading the data. This is you have to be Einstein in order to do what you're about to see, okay? Or at least to figure it out for the first time. So we're going to delete. Let me make sure one more time. This is only mail. Yep, okay. Delete that. It's amazing how they count mail-in votes before early votes, isn't it? I thought early votes would be the first thing to be counted. So we're going to have to find, I'm going to pause the video until I find the first early ballot here. Early voting continues all through sheet 3, and we'll finish on somewhere on sheet 4. Okay, so while I'm doing that, I'm going to pause the video. Long story short, I'm going to delete all the mail-in ballots and all the election day ballots across these sheets, so I'm only left with early ballots. And then I'm going to put all those sheets together as one giant sheet. So this is going to take about 4 or 5 minutes. In retrospect, we should be able to do all of the early and election day ballots at the same time because the process is the same. So I'm actually not going to delete the election day ballots. Okay? Okay, so this is the last set of mail-in ballots. So you can see how these go back to one page for the mail-in ballots. Okay, so we have all of our early ballots here. Now I'm going to go put them all on the same sheet. Early and election day. There's actually one more set of mail-in ballots after the election day vote here. That also has to go. 1 second. So we cannot include the election day vote because it will exceed the number of columns that's allowable in Excel. So the election day vote will have to be done using the same method after. Okay, we have all the early ballots in one sheet. We're going to add 3 columns to the left. I put a stop column here, but I can't put anything in that. We're going to put a couple of red columns. We're going to put a red column right here that tells me that we stop here. Okay, whatever this is, we stop here. Okay. Now I'm just going to center things so I can see. It's kind of hard to see a document like this. Oh my God. Okay. So the first state question, yes, the yes vote here is the column that everything is basically going to be normalized against, okay? But it's a dynamic normalization due to the skullduggery of however they presented the CVR to the public. It really begs the question, what is it that people are certifying when they say that they're certifying our elections? If the general public, including the county officials that are certifying the data, can't read the data. I'm going to pause because it's going to take a while. So you'll have to save the file many times. Like every time you do a step, you have to save it because it just crashed. So sometimes it just, I have one of the top of the line home desktop computer and it still crashes my computer. I'm going to save it again now that everything is centered. Okay. As soon as it lets me click, assuming it doesn't crash before I get to save it again. By the way, you can see my clock down here throughout the video. You can see how much time is passing between hitting play and pause. It's a lot of time. Okay, so now we're ready to make our first 3 columns. Okay, we need the CVR index, we need the page index, and we need what's called a void index for the page 2 ballots. Okay. So we're going to insert 3 columns. Now, most of these numbers are in quotation marks, meaning they're text. They're not actually numbers. Okay. So to deal with this, we're going to put CVR, which is I, page J. We're going to also have a void index, okay? We don't need the void index for the page 1 ballots, but we do need it for page 2. So we're just going to write value, whatever this is. Value turns this into a number. For the page 2, we're just going to put equals above it. We're going to put equals 1, equals 2, okay? We'll do the void index now. I'm just going to put n. Doesn't matter. So it's completely random, and thankfully it's only 1 column we have to worry about. But sometimes you get totally blank cells where the no vote is supposed to be on state question 1, which means it's it's actually not a data point at all. It's not even an empty cell in regards to the precinct not going to the race, so it's a void. So we're going to write if is blank, okay? D6 1 0. Okay, so if this is blank, then you're going to get a 1 here. And it's telling me that when we do our dynamic offsetting, we're going to have to factor this in as well. Okay. Just so you get the idea. All right, now we're going to take this code. We're going to select all 3 of these cells, all 6 technically. We're just going to double click and let it drop to the bottom. This is going to be a really long calculation, as you can see by the code, the loading bar. So I'm going to pause the video. All right, 5 minutes has passed. We're 1/3 done. 1/4 done. Well, this crashed, so I have to do it again. I'm going to try doing it 1 column at a time. It's truly aggravating, like what you have to go through. So I'm going to do 1 at a time. First, I'm going to do my void. If blank if blank 1 0. Is blank. We'll do that over here. Let's do CVR number first. What we're going to try and do is get rid of any dependencies. So we're going to do value of the text cell. And then we're going to do value of the text cell again. That way there's not some sort of back and forth dependency. Hopefully that will save time. Yeah, that was much faster. Okay. So I think, in other words, we don't want to use a dependency of any sort. Actually, okay, so this should probably go fast. So then let's do J. This is the page. 1, 2. And hopefully if I drag, like if I do this, no. So we have to use equals 1, 2. So equals 1 equals 2, but there's no dependency here, okay? Okay, we're going to put N is blank. This should go very quickly then. That's the one that runs, you know what it is? It's a bunch of if, then, else conditionals. But at least we're not running everything at once. So once again, I'm going to pause this and pray that it goes faster than we think it will. As soon as I see that loading bar, I'll pause it. This could have crashed it again. So, I don't know. Or I might render it all at once. So, really depends on the luck of the draw here. I'm going to pause it for now. I'm going to assume that this crashed again, but we're going to try a different way. So it appears is blank is a nasty function. It's not an optimized native function for what I'm reading here. So we're going to use a different method to handle this. First, I want to get those indexes out really fast. So let's get I CVR. CVR equals I. Value. Like normally, like this isn't this hard, you know what I mean? So this is kind of annoying. Just copy and paste over that, so we don't have to keep doing that. I'm going to save here because I don't want to keep doing this part either. We'll troubleshoot that other index in a moment. Page equals J equals 1 equals 2. Very good. Now the $1 million question. Void. If hopefully this works. I got rid of the letter N too, just in case that was causing an issue. Alright, so hopefully this is the one. I'm going to save this before I do it. And if it crashes again, well, we're going to know right away. We'll know the moment I apply this down. Okay, that's definitely the correct formula. So you want to do if D6 equals, you want to put 2 sets of quotation marks. Quote, 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 quote. All right, so we solved that problem. All right, so now what's the next thing we're going to do? Okay, so we need to get page 1 and page 2 ballots. So we're going to do page 1. I don't like to put numbers, actually. That actually can cause some strange errors from time to time. We're going to make a second copy of this. These will be the page 2 ballots. So what we're going to do here, we're going to go to page 1. Copy and paste values over all these things. Okay. This is VI, by the way. This is something we actually have to use. Okay, let's go over here. I don't have my text stop wall, so I don't know where this stops. Okay, right here. Okay. We're going to take these yeses and nos, and we're just going to apply it there so we don't have empty stuff. All right, now we're going to sort this by page number and then by the cast vote record number. So by J and then by I. That's going to take a while. Well, it won't take that long. It's not too bad. I'll have to pause for this one. So it's taken 20 minutes with pausing to get this far. But so far, nothing technically irregular has happened yet, right? So right now, we're just going through the basic crap that you would have to go through whether or not the data was in the correct form. All right, so we need to find, I'm going to pause for this. I have to go search for the start of page 2, okay? And then I'm delete that. Then I'm going to do the same thing here. I'm going to sort it by page 2 descending and yada yada. So I'm going to pause for this part. Okay, so here's the beginning of page 2. Okay, we're going to do the same thing. But in this one, we're going to delete the page 1 ballots. Nasty piece of work. Like I said, up to this point in the video, nothing irregular has happened yet, right? If this is just a case of appending page 2 to page 1, just copy and paste, then the next step would be the final step. Unfortunately, that's not how this worked out. Okay, let's go ahead and save this. So there's a lot of information that's stuck in the metadata of Excel. So we're going to save, and once that's done, we're going to close it, reopen it, clear our RAM and things like that. What I'll usually do too is I'll copy and paste a single cell just to clear the clipboard. Save one more time. Then we're going to close the file. I like to use Intelligent Standby List Cleaner. It's just a personal thing. Technically has nothing to do with what we're doing. But there'll be a lot of stuff stuck in your standby. I have 12 gigs stuck in standby. I just clear that out. Just make sure everything is running smoothly. So I'm going to go to the bathroom, take a little break. Even though this video is only 25 minutes up to this point, you know from the clock that I've been sitting here for over an hour now. I'm going to update some of the notation in the document here for this. All right, we're going to define a void cell. course. Good old ChatGPT will probably tell us the easy way of saying this. Thank God I got AIs to speak human for me. Always got to make sure it understands. Very good. I always make sure it knows what it's talking about before I even copy and paste what it's talking about and read it. All right. I know what we gotta get. We gotta get our counter. We gotta start the counter at the right place. So hold on. Okay. That way I can see all 236 of these, yeah? Okay, good. Okay, this is like the big deal cell, you know what I mean? The big deal column. So this should be 218. Yeah, 218. All right, so we're going to go ahead. We're going to calculate the number of negative cells according to that definition. So we just need this from here to here. Okay, this is our negative cells. Okay, we're going to just copy the headers, put them in green. And all we're saying is if this cell equals blank, okay, and it's a negative cell, so we're going to put a 1. Okay, we're not actually going to put, the code here says to put negative ones, but that's for people working with a better tool like MATLAB or Python or something. You would have to go through this because then Python wouldn't know how to read anything. But for Excel, we don't actually have to write -1 for negative cells and all these blank cells, okay? We're just going to write if is blank 1. That's it. Otherwise, 0. So that gives us our Boolean array. Here, it's a length 13 array. Bij, okay? So this is Bij coming up. And I think we have to go backwards on this. I gotta think. No, we're good. We have to go backwards later, though. We have to go in reverse order. Now, we don't have to go out to the ballot questions here. That's all taken care of. So this is not defined in this range. So I'm going to delete this, okay? We only care about the first 13. All right, now this is definitely a function you want to save the file before you do this. So if we drop these down a few times, you'll see that it's not always the same. Okay, and then we're going to calculate n, which is the count of these ones, just with a sum formula. We're going to do that here. So this is ni. And here we're just going to write the sum from here, okay, to the corresponding element. So here this tells us we have 12 negative cells. We're going to drop the sum after we drop the ones and zeros, because otherwise we can crash our computer, because then it's going to be waiting for these to render. So we're going to drop these down, and then we're going to paste values over them, okay? First render Bij. Then render Ni. Okay, so I'm going to pause while this happens. Okay, so this actually rendered pretty fast. That was like almost instant. Okay, let's drop our column sum. Very good. Okay, so we have enough information to reconstruct from here, okay? We have our void. We have our negative array. So what we're going to do now is we're going to take this, okay? We're going to write if this equals 0, then. Right? So if the Boolean array, if we have a positive cell, okay, they're going to accept the data as given in the cast vote record because it's a positive cell. If it's not, okay, then we have to get some more indexes in here. Okay, I'm going to put a 0 there for a moment. So we need the numbers going from 13 to 0, and from 13 backwards to 1 is what we need here. Okay. We already know what this is. I'm going to delete this. Okay. We need a lot of indexes. So it's going to work our way backwards. Okay. Well, hold on. Let me do this first. Okay. Now, there's technically more ballot questions that are going to pop out here. Okay. Because we actually have to render all of the data, not just the state questions, okay? but I do need to start with this index. So let's say, see how we have 10 negative points? I'm just going to copy and paste this for a second so you understand. Then we want to render, okay, from here on out against the sequence provided on page 2 of the same ballot, okay? So we would be rendering from here, but this is a void, okay? Then we want to attach this, because if you take this string here and you put it here, oh, I forgot I included that by accident. Okay, it's got to copy and paste. So then you'll have all of the state questions, and then the remainder of this are these are technically positive cells, but we don't have to identify how many of these are with the way we're going to do this, okay? So these are technically real cells that are blank in the original array, okay? So that would be the role. So how do we handle that? Well, blah, 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 but then you run into this function here, right? And because this is, we actually have to start grabbing information, okay? Then we need to get from here. There's no void, so we don't have to offset, okay? So we're going to offset from this cell. And then the amount of cells we offset from there is given by please stand by. Yeah, it's going to be given by this function here. So maybe I didn't need those backwards indexes in the original iteration of this. It might be an easier way. I'm just thinking about it. So if it's 10, let's just say hypothetically it was 13. Okay, we want to start from 0. I see. Okay, so the way this works then is no additional offset if this is 13, but then we need an offset of 1 additional if this was 11, and then you need an offset of 2, offset of 4. So then this would be 13 minus, yeah, this row. Okay, so we don't need these anymore. So let's bring this down here. This made life a lot easier. Okay, but now we do need these Henderson questions, potentially. So I need 6 more of these, okay? So up to 18 total. All right, so here's going to be our function. If this equals 0, then pull from the page 1 ballot that it already corresponds to, okay? However, if it's a negative cell, then offset D5 by 0 rows And then the number of columns is the void number, A5, plus (13) minus IT5 Is that correct? I gotta think about it. I gotta pause about this and think. No. We don't need that. It's gonna be 13 just minus this. Like, this should be the whole function. I can't... I think this is definitely easier than whatever I did do. Oh, this is so nasty. Oh, hold on. We gotta hold this down. How did it get, Oh, okay, hold on. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So technically, we need this. I'm just going to put these in total, like, gray, okay? All right, now let's go ahead and go across again. So we want to make sure that we get all of the information. That which is blank, though, should remain blank. So this might not be true. Oh, okay, I see what's wrong. Give me a few seconds. I'm gonna make some food. Okay, we do need the numbers also running backwards. I'll explain why. So it wasn't that I overcomplicated my first reconstruction of this data. It's actually true. There's no simplification here. So what's going to happen here is, let's say supposedly I had 13 negative cells on this page, okay? Well then, 13 minus this number, okay, plus this number would be 0. So the offset would be 0. But let's say now I had 12 negative cells like I do. Well, then the offset has to be 12 minus 12, which would give us 0. And then then you need 0 again. Let me see something. Maybe I'm missing something. A5 is the void. We need that. You get 13 should be 0. That might be the only thing we need. Let's see if this is true. We may not need this. Should have 0, 1, 1, 0. 0, because technically the 0 is here. 1, 1, 0. Then everything else should be getting pulled from here. Page 2, T5. 0 rows. Columns is the void. Plus if I get out to 13, I'm trying to understand because here we know that this part is correct. So this needs to pull in this number here. So you're getting are you serious? Minus JB3. Hold on. Let's just get it for these. If we can get it correct for this, and then we know we've cracked the code. We know this part is correct. So now we would get 10 minus 10 plus the void, which is 0. No, I'm getting 13 minus 10, which is 3. In other words, if we just left this as 0, you'll see the correct thing pop out. So we have to figure out how to make that work. I have a negative length of 10. Okay, I see. So it should be the negative length minus this. I think that's the correct code. So the negative length IZ6 minus JE3 But then I should be getting blanks here. So here you get 10, then 10 minus 9 is 1. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. This should be the correct code. This is definitely the correct code, so if ij equals 0, correct, then that. Otherwise, offset the page d6 by void plus whatever this row is minus, okay, plus the negative cell length minus this length, which is true. So what we should be getting here, if we did this correctly, is this sequence. So we might have to put one more correction. Where is the end of this? The formula is right, by the way. It should say we have to put a little bell and whistle on it. Then we're going to write if this equals blank, then blank, otherwise itself. Okay, so that's not the issue. Otherwise, offset page 2. Alright, let's check something real quick. If I put the number 2 here. Okay. So that's what I want to do real quick. Let's put the number 2 here. So when this renders the number 2, we know we got this correct, okay? If oh, I know what's going on. We gotta put zeros in here for our Boolean array. Sorry, we've got to put the number 1 in here. If we put the number 1, we're good. So I hope you're watching this video. It is annoying as hell what has to be done here. Okay. Gotta apply that down. So we do have the correct formula. Okay, so you see how the number 2 popped out at the end? I can put ASFDF, and there she pops out, okay? We have the right formula. We're going to get rid of this number 2 as well. Alright, we are ready to proceed. So everything is correct. Now we just have to get it to a blank, okay? So we have to still do that little modification. If offset, then otherwise itself, okay? And there we go. That is the correction. Let's put the number. First, I'm going to drag this back and up. All right, so I want to test this on. Let's make sure we got this correct. So it says I should be getting this sequence on ballot number, on whatever row number 8 is. So row number 8 is here. And it's saying that because we have a negative length of 10, that we would apply this right here. And there she pops. Very good. All right, let's save this. We have the correct code. So you do need the numbers going backwards, but you don't need the numbers going forward. Oh, man, dude. All right, I'm going to have to notate that real quick in the paper. It's going to be hard to word this, so I'm going to pause the video while I word it. So ChatGPT has, I gave it the whole thing, by the way. I rendered the whole formula for it, fed it through. It's come to the conclusion that no average person, even someone experienced with data, could have figured this out. And that's true. It's only because I've been doing this for 4 years, and I've seen some of the most botched data you can imagine from other counties that I had any clue of how to do this. So the people that provided us this data, even they wouldn't know how to do this. Okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to apply this across. I'm going to verify the integrity by making sure that the net sum of ones and zeros in the statewide races is less than or equal to 1. And that's how we'll know we have it done. So stand by. Okay, that's finally done. I'm going to do a quick scroll up and down. It looks good to me. We're going to copy and paste over this. Now what I'm going to do is check so I'll give you one example. What I'm going to do here is just check this to make sure that there isn't a fatal error. Okay? I know it worked for the election day vote, but who knows? Maybe there was multiple void cells in the early vote. So there's a really quick way to check this, okay? And that's at all these ballot questions, the sum of every pair of rows cannot exceed 1, okay? So this is going to be check 1. Then we have 7 ballot questions, and then we have 3 local questions, okay? So we're just going to do if I have to start with this, though. This is the mother cell here. If this plus this is greater than 1, then 1, then 0. So 1 would mean we have a fatal error. Okay. And I'm just going to go ahead and do that for each of these. I'm going to pause it. Now the quick way to do this, once you have this, okay, we're going to leave this blank for a second. Oh, okay, hold on. I can't even do that yet. You know why? Because I need this in numerical format. So one moment. The problem is that you have a lot of these are text strings instead of actual numbers. So I have to use the value function to check that. So we're going to write if this equals blank, and then blank, otherwise value, whatever this is, okay? Now, I'm actually not sure if it can read that. So we might need an even more powerful function to read this. We're going to know in a second. Okay, see this error? We need an even stronger function. I'm going to write it right in front of you, too. We'll deal with the blank later, because that's the easy. So we're going to write if value mid text no, we have to write if is number value mid text start number 1, number of characters 1, if that is a number, then value is going to be this function right here. Otherwise, then value. Otherwise, if is number. Two. Otherwise, if is number 3. Okay? It's a very long function. Okay, might be able to get rid of this. We might not need that. Value if false then would be value mid 3. I know it can't go beyond 3. Okay. Then we write if this is blank, then blank, otherwise blah. Okay? I'm going to go notate that now. Okay, I just got done writing about this. So let's go ahead and take this horrendous formula and run it straight down. come on, man. Okay. Greater than might be a problem, so let's put equals 2. Then 1, then 0. Alright, now for this one, now that we can finally do this, J, W, J, X. What we're going to do is we're going to do this. This will make our life easier. I'm just going to put if error 0. So the 3 local races can be ends, so we just put 0 here, because we know what's actually causing that. And then, of course, I have to match this up against the state numbers as well. So, but first we have to make sure there's no absolute glaring errors here. That's interesting. What's the problem? We're going to run them all off with error. If error is obviously probably like, oh, you know what it is? It's the asterisks. There's redacted data in here. I was going to say, like, come on, man. Well, you know, we can just, again, we can do the same thing. Like, it's the same bullshit. Good. Quick question. I forgot if you can sum over things like this. Yeah, good, good. Alright, we're done with this video. Enjoy. You put me through the pain, now I'm putting you through the pain.